This year, we celebrate 20 amazing years.
And we want to say thank you.
Because of you, we've become innovative, creative, and committed to providing the best customer service in the Bahamas.
Because of you,
we have given back to our community.
We are proud to serve our Bahamas with cable television, the nation's fastest broadband internet, and reliable phone service.
And that's all because of you.
Thank you for inspiring us,
motivating us,
and believing in us.
Thank you.
For 20 years!
VAT blamed for major losses in the real estate market. The Deputy Prime Minister says the BAMSI saga led to new policies. The U.S. Embassy warning its citizens on crime in the Bahamas for the holidays, plus staff at LPIA getting training in the event of a plane crash. We've got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Kyle Joaquin, and NB12 starts now. Welcome once again to NB12. It's been nearly a year since the implementation of value-added tax, and we've heard mixed reviews of how the new tax has affected various industries and businesses. But a leader in one industry in particular, real estate, has found that since its implementation, the industry has taken a serious hit, and tonight she is expressing concern and asking officials to revisit the 7.5% tax.
At the end of the day, what has contributed to the downturn in the economy? Is it just value-added tax? No, it's not just that, but it's a major contributor in my view.
Carla Sweeting, the president of the Bahamas Real Estate Association, says property sales across the country on the Multiple Listing Service, or MLS database, fell by 50% between January and August. And while various factors may have come into play, she contends value-added tax was the culprit. The MLS database compiles listings from across the country, accounting for at least 40% of the country's total property sales. But what should be noted, according to Sweeting, is for every real estate transaction in the Bahamas, the government gets VAT at least 3 times or more. There is VAT on legal fees for the seller, VAT on legal fees for the buyer, there's the real estate fee, and other professional fees, including the appraiser. So it is possible that on one real estate transaction, the government could receive the 7.5% VAT up to 6 times. There is no VAT on real estate transactions worth $100,000 or less.
The value-added tax is on the sale price, and that's usually the burden of the purchaser. So some scenarios we're able to share it equally between the buyer and the seller, but the reality is when you do the numbers, a buyer ends up paying quite a bit more at the end of the day when you add the value-added taxes to all the fees, and then you add the value-added tax to the purchase price.
And in addition to that, Sweeting says it's now harder for people to get loans from the bank. VAT was introduced on January 1st at a rate of 7.5%, and on July 1st it took effect on real estate. In the Central Bank of the Bahamas' monthly Economic and Financial Developments report for October, it showed that there was a near 70% slump in government revenue derived from tax receipts from real estate transactions. And while tourism is the country's #1 industry, real estate, she says, isn't far behind.
I know that nothing's going to change right now. If anything's going to change, it won't happen until a new budget is in place. So I don't expect anything, but I want them to be very aware of what is going on, because the real estate market and the construction market are 2 huge factors in the economy. And when we are down, everybody else is down.
Sweeting says she hopes the government would soon revisit VAT, particularly when it comes to real estate.
Well, I would like to have a conversation with them to, let them see what's happening and how we can work towards getting this turned around, because we only want the country to succeed. We don't want it to continue to be a problem, because we want to be able to see things moving,
Amidst controversy surrounding the status of the Bahamas Agricultural and Marine Science Institute, Acting Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis said on Tuesday that the Ministry of Works has implemented new policies set to reduce the risk of contractors dodging their obligations. Davis said while the government has always been strict on contractors, some things just fall through the cracks, and the plan is to avoid that going forward. Simone Davis reports.
The DPM said the Ministry of Works reviewed its protocol after it was discovered that Audley Hanna, who was contracted to build the male dorm at BAMSI, did not have all risk insurance, even though that was one of the requirements to get the government contract. The dorm was nearly 80% completed when it was destroyed by a fire back in January.
We are always strict on contractors, but as in all things, right, some things will fall to the crack. We are not strict on contractors. We have a contract with the contractors. We expect them to live by the terms of their contract, and at times we are all humans, and their things could fall to the crack. We have refined some of the things we'll do going forward, but it doesn't make any less strict than it was. It's just that we have put more bodies in place to ensure that things are less likely to be overlooked going forward.
Officials have yet to identify who issued the contract to Hanna without ensuring that he had insurance. Minister of State for Works and Urban Development Arnold Forbes admitted last week Friday that a new contractor to build the dorm had not been identified. According to Forbes, the remains of the male dorm are expected to be demolished in 5 to 6 weeks, and reconstruction is predicted to begin early 26. Officials have yet to identify who issued the contract to Hanna without ensuring that he had insurance. Minister of State for Works and Urban Development Arnold Forbes admitted
it's not difficult to find a contractor to build. The question is what we're going to build, because the demand for the school has so magnified over the last year. We may not want to build what we originally planned. And so those are some of the factors we are now taking into account. Whether we build what is there now or build what we originally intended, or build to meet the demands that we are now seeing to go to school.
On Monday, Free National Movement Deputy Leader Peter Turnquest called it shameful and unacceptable that nearly 1 year after the BAMSI fire, the government has yet to select a new contractor to rebuild the male dorm. This after a group of opposition members visited the site last week. Davis previously estimated that the reconstruction would cost around $5.5 million, but officials are still not sure how much it'll cost to rebuild the dorm. The DPM also said engineers from the Ministry of Works will present their plan for the dorm to him on Friday.
I am having a meeting tomorrow, either tomorrow or Friday, with the engineers who are on staff, the independent engineers, to discuss the way forward. I've been assiduously on them to identify what we're going to do going forward, and I expect a report from them by Friday.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Simone Davis.
Well, the U.S. Embassy has issued a security message for U.S. citizens for the holiday season. In the message, the U.S. Embassy in Nassau strongly advises U.S. citizens in the Bahamas to be aware of their surroundings and remain on heightened alert to avoid becoming a victim of crime. It claimed during each year's holiday season, the embassy receives increased reports of crime, particularly armed robberies and burglaries, such as the carjacking of U.S. citizens at Jaws Beach in western New Providence on Thursday, November 26. The message said U.S. citizens residing in or traveling to the Bahamas should review their personal security plans, remain aware of your surroundings, including local events, and monitor local news stations for updates. Maintain a high level of vigilance and take appropriate steps to enhance your personal security. The embassy warned if confronted by armed criminals, remember your vehicle or valuables are not worth your life or anyone else's. If confronted, try to remain calm, clearly display your hands, and do not make any sudden moves that could be interpreted as resistance. And officials from Lynden Pindling International Airport conducted a full-scale emergency drill on its grounds this morning. The drill simulated an accidental aircraft crash, which allowed LPIA to test its emergency response procedures and business plans following a plane crash. Vice President of Marketing and Communications at the Nassau Airport Development Company, Jan Knoll, said the drill also allowed participating emergency response and investigative agencies to test their operational procedures and response times.
Today, what we will have out here is a crash. This will be a plane crash with 30 souls on board, and we will be looking at how we handle this emergency in terms of putting out the fire, that's going to be simulated, the time frames as it relates to that, ensuring that we get all of the souls off the plane and getting them the correct medical and other care that's necessary.
The scene shows a plane crash with 30 passengers who were killed, seriously injured, walking injured, or needed medical attention. Officials from the Civil Aviation Department's Air Traffic Services, NEMA, PHA, and Doctors Hospital and the Red Cross all participated in the drill to test their procedures. Knowles said it is mandatory that the drill takes place every 2 years to ensure that the quality of work remains strong.
There are response times set aside or put in place by ICAO and other international agencies. And so those response times, we'll be monitoring those, as well as a number of other factors to ensure that we're meeting all of those standards.
NB12 is back after this break, so stay tuned.